host of Wine Library TV, aka WLTV, and this is BBQ Central.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wieners.
So listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. It's the Barbecue Central Show. We do it live every Tuesday night right here from Cleveland, Ohio. Not the tropical capital of the world, as we found out last segment with Robin Lindars from grillgirl.com. She got a new paddle board. I was thinking like 6th, 7th grade when you act the fool in school. You know, when I had moved here from New York, I think within the first 4 months of me being in the school here in Cleveland, some kid was acting the fool. You know, the normal kid troublemaker. And all of a sudden was like, hey, Marcus is getting pulled into the boys' bathroom. And then there goes the math teacher with this paddle in his hand, and it had holes that were drilled in. I was like, what the hell is that? It looked like a paddle with kind of Swiss cheese. But they seemed to be pretty strategic holes put in that wood paddle, by the way. And then 3 minutes later, all of a sudden you heard whap! Whap! That was Marcus getting beat. It's a good way to discourage bad behavior, getting your ass kicked by the math teacher. And it's not fisticuffs. He's just got to bend over, grit, and bear it. And he got like 4 or 5 whacks. It sounded brutal. It's one of those things where you're like gathered around the bathroom, and then as soon as that first swat happens, you're literally like ducking your head like, whoa, what? You don't expect it to be that brutalizing to your psyche, where you're like, oh, that guy's a real ass. But I kind of feel bad for him right now because he is getting literally the wood put to him right now. So that's my first thought when anybody says paddleboard. It's poor Marcus getting his ass kicked by the math teacher in the 7th grade. Not hitting Hollywood Beach or the Atlantic Ocean. Paddleboarding. Someday, hopefully, through therapy, I will get over Marcus getting his butt kicked, but probably not anytime soon. That was brutal. Poor Marcus. But he's still kind of a dick. Probably today, still a dick. Sorry, Marcus. All right, still to come on the show, Sterling Ball in about 6-7 minutes from now. And then to close the show, maybe the creator, CEO, president of LA Talk Radio, sidetracked by John Dawson, weighing in. Boys' restroom, I got my wax in the hallway. What? At least Kenston Middle School had the class, John. This is probably when you were in Ashtabula, by the way. Kenston schools had the courtesy of removing said malfeasant from public view before brutalizing him in the boys' bathroom. We didn't have to watch it. We just had to hear it. Both wood hitting Heine and that kid screaming like a bitch. Can you imagine, like, nowadays that would happen? Well, first of all, it would never happen nowadays. Teachers would be immediately arrested. But if that happened, with how bravado 6th and 7th grade boys are, and they have no right to be, because I'm pretty sure even in my current condition, I can kick 99% of 6th and 7th grade boys' asses, and I'm saying that out loud. I'm pretty sure. Not in every case. I am slender, wiry, if you will. But I do fight very unfairly if it's one thing I learned from Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game. It's to get the advantage right away. If that means dropping to one knee and then popping right in the balls to get the upper hand, that's fine. Then work around, back of the neck, chokehold, and you're out. I'll fight like that. I'm not going to sit here and trade blows with anybody. 5th grade boy, 6th grade boy, 7th grade boy, man. I'm not trying to trade punches with anybody, because the minute you hit my face, I'm going to be out like a light. I guarantee it. Plus, it's going to hurt really bad. And I don't want to punch anybody because it's going to hurt my fist really bad. I'm going to be the guy that hits you in the mouth. I might knock your tooth out, but it's going to end up in my knuckle, and it's going to hurt for days and weeks. I don't need it. So I'm going to drop to a knee, probably hit you in the balls, drop you down. Hopefully I can get around the backside and then get my arm underneath your neck, and I'm just wrenching back until you go limp. And hopefully I didn't kill you. I just choked you out. But I'm not MMA guy either, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just hoping I can get the advantage. And if I accidentally kill you, then we shouldn't have fought in the first place. I won. That's a long way to go from paddleboard, I got to tell you. Now I'm committing murder. Email from Zach Hill. Greg, I wish you and Sam the cooking guy could do shows more often. Just hearing you two assholes, in quotation marks, term of endearment, bicker with each other and bust balls makes these segments so good. Obviously, good content within, but the banter between you two Nancys is priceless. Thanks for the entertainment. Zach Hill. Zach, how dare you? Assholes. We are prime-time entertainers. Come on, Zach, you know it. Just kidding. I would love to do a monthly segment with Sam. I have not approached Sam about doing a monthly segment. Quite honestly, I don't know where we'd fit him in. We could probably do second Tuesday, but he's very busy. I don't know if you heard him or not, but I think last week he had mentioned he's got somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 or 14 Emmys to his credit. He does nationally televised infomercials. He's got his own shooting schedule for his YouTube stuff that he's got 240-some thousand subscribers. I mean, still well below Malcolm Reed, but who's counting? I have 8 subscribers, I think, to my YouTube. Kinger's got stats on that, ready to bust balls at a moment's notice. As far as my YouTube, because it blows. But we're getting better. We're taking large segments. I don't know if I had mentioned, but I had hired the birthday girl from last week to take the 2-hour show and cut it down into 4 of the interview segments. So you're looking at, 12 to 18-minute bites of the show. A little bit more consumable, let's say. So I don't know what his schedule is like. I mean, do we have a camaraderie? Yes. Do we have a friendship that extends outside of the air? Yes. Do I think if I asked him more times than not, he would come on once a month? I'd say there's a better than 50% chance. I don't know if I feel like I want to I don't want to Sam is a good pull, okay? I don't want to overuse him. I don't know if you can overuse him. I mean, you see him 3 times a week doing various different cooking things in a 16 to 7-minute segment for his cooking show, which is probably going to be right around the same time frame if he was going to be doing a monthly appearance on this show. Is he somebody that you would associate with live fire? Probably not, but he does a lot of grilling. Zach, I totally buy in to your whole deal, okay? I agree. Good guy. John Dawson weighing in. Remps, for the record, per Sam the Cooking Guy's request, I hit dude up via his website and Instagram, and yes, crickets. Oh, that's right, John. That's why you side with me. You don't side with the guests. You don't call me out. You call the guests out because you know I got your back. You know, I would send you a Barbecue Central show shirt. You can't count on dudes from San Diego living in paradise to remember anything they said even 5 minutes after they said it because they're too busy reveling in the great weather, in the ocean, in the harbor seals, and all the rich people in La Jolla, all that stuff. That's why you can't count on them. It just happens. They don't mean it to happen. It just happens. Anyway. All right, we got a phone call coming in. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do this? Who is that? Is that Sterling? Can't be Sterling. I can't take it. I'm out of time. I'm sorry, I'm out of time. Can't do it. Got to make room for Sterling. He's a booked guest. Sir, I'm sorry. Hope that wasn't Sterling. Usually he shows up. Definitely not. Before we get to Sterling, let me talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Attention folks in the biz of barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside Market and Barbecue, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. Owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations, they offer premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage can be on your menu, too. All meats processed in that on-site USDA-inspected facility. Not a lot of places have those, by the way. I think La Frida is the only other one that jumps right to mind here. Trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options available. Shipping nationwide via FedEx, food service distribution through Sysco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods, some of the biggest names in that industry. Co-packaging capable, from research and development to package completion. They can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new. Also, something I've been really high on, private label opportunities. What? What's a private label opportunity? Glad you asked. What? I'm glad you asked. That means if you already like a Southside sausage, right? You want to add it to your website, or you want to add it to your restaurant or food truck. You tell them which of their brands that you like, then you ship them your logo, and they will make all the packaging look like your stuff, except it's their stuff, right? Of course. That's private labeling. That's why you want to do that. Here's the kicker. If you go to SouthsideMarket.com right now, you get 10% off everything on the online order when you enter code BBQ Central. That's BBQ Central, lowercase one word, when you shop at SouthsideMarket.com. Sterling Ball out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by the good folks over at Smithfield. Are you signed up for the Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship? No? Stop it. Do it now. Registration is free. Sign up today. Hit the website, Smokin', S-M-O-K-I-N, smokinwithsmithfield.com for all the details. Do it. All right, my last guest tonight. My first guest in the second hour tonight shows up semi-frequently. He makes some of the best rubs in the biz, both for the competition circuit and backyard cooks, sells sauces and cookers as well. Oh, by the way, happens to be one of the most consistent pitmasters on the circuit over the last handful of years. Let's go ahead and race to the hotline and welcome back good friend of the show, Sterling Ball. Sterling, how are you, buddy? Sterling. What? The hell was that? Okay, let's try again. I don't. Oh, no. No. Damn it. Oh. Brutal. Sterling.
Yes.
Hey, it's Greg Rempe, Barbecue Central Show. Remember, we had an interview. Greg Rempe, Barbecue Central Show.
I know you're 5 minutes late.
What are you talking about?
Which one? Is it that Hall of Famer?
No, you're first up.
I like that. 7:14.
7. Come on. Here we go. Let's go. You got plenty of time. I'm going to make room for you.
I sent you some pictures just now.
You did?
But yeah.
Man.
I just texted them to you. They're ones you want to see.
Am I supposed to show them on the show?
Yeah, because I want to talk about a full-service competition.
Yeah, but they're on my phone. What am I doing here?
Greg?
Yeah.
Look at your watch.
Yeah,
2019.
I got it. I got the pictures. I'll show them up in front of the camera as we. Wow, look at that. You are one happy-looking dude. I got to be honest.
It's a full-service deal.
This past weekend, Smithfield Guinea Pig, 2019. Yeah. What year are we in now with guinea pig competitions? When they start? Is it 5-6 years now?
6 years.
Holy moly!
Yeah, and it's really gotten great. I mean, we moved it to my main company's headquarters, the Ernie Ball property, and I was worried that maybe people wouldn't like being in an industrial area, and I think everyone pretty much unanimously says it's significantly better. And you know, when we did the guinea pig, it was a level playing field as best you can.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cost-controlled contest. It was one where hopefully the kids would be involved and dessert would be involved. And I'm really happy this year. We had, once again, 65% of the field cashed a check. We had like one of the great potlucks, too. You know, James the Flame Perez, my partner, makes great tacos. We had Smithfield pulled pork tacos with a complete salsa bar. Then, of course, we had Dodger dogs and a bunch of chili that everybody did. So I only had 4 chili dogs.
Oh, you were showing restraint in 2019. Is that a resolution?
Well, no, it was my cheat nights in my diet, and boy, I didn't take any prisoners. But we had a great contest, and Jeff Staney at Slaughterhouse 5 won. And that is awesome because I think people think since we're competitors, because he has the Kansas City barbecue store, that it would be weird, like we're really good friends. And it gave me a chance on the microphone to say about 4 or 5 times that I was offering free freight this weekend, and he wasn't.
Yeah,
but he got a bunch of my money.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, for the folks that don't know, Jeff Staney, Barbecue Hall of Famer, was it last year he got put in, or year before that, I think? And
year before.
I mean, I don't know if maybe saying one of the all-time teams is a little overreaching, but certainly, in the history of competition barbecue, very accomplished, won a lot of contests, and then did the restaurant thing, and recently, over the last couple of years, has kind of gotten back into competition a little bit.
Well, he did a couple of years. He lives in the desert here in the winter, and I kind of showed him our thing, our program, and he went out and won a couple times, and then kind of lost interest last year. But I think this year it might have helped him a little bit. I mean, I think winning this might motivate him.
Do you think he would do 20 competitions this year, or would it be less than that?
No. If he does 5, I'll be amazed.
So he's not that.
And by the way, each year I went money from him because he always says he's going to cook more than he does, and I always pick a low number, and I make $100 a year off of Staney.
Does he? I mean, he's pretty headlong into the restaurant though in Kansas City when he's there though.
Yeah, but he's also, enough about him.
Right. Who cares about the GC? Let's talk about the event itself. I mean, how did it come off?
How about the RGC with Ridge Rob Boys, our good friend Curtis? Listen, what it is, it's amazing. You know how hard I had to fight for this event.
Yeah.
Okay, to get sanctioned, to get bungs, to get draws, and to me, you look back on it, and it's so silly. I mean, and I'll tell you one thing that was really cool. We had 2 first-time cooks at it this year. And so in the cooks meeting, just for the hell of it, I said, how many of your first contest was the guinea pig? And 12 out of 50 raised their hand.
Really?
And these are people that are active on the circuit. Dad's chilling and grilling, a whole bunch of people, Papa LaRue. And I didn't realize that, blue-eyed barbecue. And to me, that was really rewarding to hear that this was a format that they felt willing to dive in on. And we sold it out in 2.5 hours. It never made even a Facebook post. So there's a lot of demand for it. And I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do another one, okay?
You don't want to do another one for next year?
Oh, yes, we're going to do that because also I really have to point out that one of the things that keeps it going is our great sponsor, Smithfield, okay? I think Emily and Deidre and everybody over at Smithfield, I mean, you shouldn't expect a company to want to support a contest where you say, oh, by the way, there's no public. It's not a public-facing event. You're just going to underwrite the thing or partially underwrite the thing for a bunch of barbecuers. And they see the benefit of it. It was instrumental in their push into barbecue. But that was one. And then the other reason why I'll have it as long as I can is it's a chance for me to honor my dear, dear friend, Matt Dalton, who's no longer with us.
Yep.
And so it's the Matty. And there was a pretty serious toast, jet coatings by some awful nice bourbon, because, that's what Matty liked. And Steph gives the toast one year, I give the toast this year. But it was, it's nice to remember Matt. And it's nice to see California barbecue get along so well. And we had Lucky Q come out this year, and Shiggin and Grindon. We had a team from Australia come. And Shiggin and Grindon, and Lucky said, okay, make sure I'm on the list next year. So I think they really enjoyed it. I think it was a lot of fun.
Putting it, remember 6 years ago, it was the guinea pig is incorrectly billed maybe at that point as trying to get new teams to come in. As you had just mentioned, there were 12 teams. That was the first contest that they had ever cooked. But it was kind of coming off as, hey, let's try and get new blood into competition barbecue. But, quickly people realized, hey, this is an event that veterans can get in. We like the concept. We like the idea. And then we had talked about over the years, is this something where you're going to see 25 or 35 versions of a guinea pig happen during the course of the year? It's never evolved into that, really. Is that just because lack of effort from other people?
No, it's too hard. And you also need some of the connections that we have because, and every year you'll have one or two guys complain about his box, but most people have kind of gotten over that.
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, I like to hand pick my meat, and then I point out that they get their ribs in the mail and their brisket in the mail. But, I don't want to say that barbecuers aren't self-aware or anything, but can you imagine putting together 50 boxes for barbecuers that balance to like quarter pound? And, we do Foster Farms chicken, which is a generic chicken out here. They get nine thighs, and they get 3 racks of Smithfield ribs, 2 racks of Smithfield prime butts. And this year we went with the Australian Master Kobe A9 from the Pensacola Butcher Shop, and they were fantastic.
So I'm not keenly aware of where the differences lie in these higher grades, but what, in your opinion, what separates the A9s from whatever else is out there?
Well, I like how they cook. I also like that you're not paying for a whole lot of waste. There's a lot less fat in between the flat and the and the point, and I like the points better. But I also think that the flats are thicker, which I really like. I think they're just really good briskets. Listen, all the premium briskets are good. I just happen to really like A9. I'm cooking A9, so I brought them to the contest.
I would assume that if you're doing it, there's probably a decent handful of teams that are also using. I mean, are there teams cooking?
Oh yeah, way before me, and it started in Florida pretty much, and then it's spread. But I can't tell you who uses what because that wouldn't be appropriate.
Well, no, I'm not asking for that, but I mean, like, would you personally use take a brisket A and a brisket B, or do you have to be consistent in your briskets?
I like to cook the same thing. I like to cook the same weight. I weigh everything. I weigh my spices. Everything weighs exactly the same each contest. And the cookers are calibrated. I mean, the one thing I've learned after being in barbecue for this our 10th year is that everything's important. Absolutely everything. And you're still dealing in a random deal. It's still subjective and it's still, tough. But like I've said many times before, I think on a big picture level, the judging's fine. I hate the seating program though. I hope that goes away soon. I don't think that helped barbecue.
I guess we'll see how that works out here over the next handful of months as the new board gets operated and situated, if you will. From a competition standpoint, Sterling, what is your 2019 currently shaping up to be? You still going to be in that 15 to 20 range, or are you going to do more than that?
Oh, no, I always try and do 25.
Yeah.
And I always my goal is to try and win 25 or fewer. And last year, I was only able to get 20 cooks in. We had 11 contests canceled in the Western United States last year, and it's a little slow right now. Filling in, we haven't lost any yet, but there aren't a bunch of them. It's tough. Like I'm not cooking until the last week of March, and thank God it's a doubleheader. Is
that going to be in Colorado, or are you going to be out on the West Coast?
No, that's at the Santa Anita racetrack.
Oh, okay.
It's really, if people are thinking of coming to California to cook contests, that's one of them.
Yep.
I'll tell you, there's one the 4th of July, kind of south of Big Sur, in a town called Harmony. I think that'd be a real good one. But right now I'm cooking. I got Arcadia, which is Santa Anita doubleheader, then Lodi, Elk Grove, Boulder City, Murphy, Santa Clara, the Artesia, New Mexico double, and Smoking Hops, Kanab, Utah, and the Royal so far. So that's all I have. I only have about a dozen, and I'd like to have about 13 more.
Sterling Ball joining me here on the show. BigPoppaSmokers.com is his website. What's your main cooker right now, Sterling?
Oh, it's been for 5 years. Old Hickory Ace BP.
I talk about it.
I
talk about it in the read for the Big Poppa spot, but for the folks that aren't familiar with it, I think you hear Old Hickory and you immediately stereotype into the bigger commercial kind of stuff. But this is a whole different looking cooker and a convection cooker as well.
Yes, and it's a little smaller than a CTO. Listen, in barbecue, first of all, I think that the Old Hickory pits for commercial are just outstanding. The great thing is there's not a part on it that you can't buy at a hardware supply store like Granger. They're pretty much analog machines. They're old school, but I mean, there's no circuit boards. It's old-fashioned thermostats, but they're just bulletproof.
Yep.
And there's one cooker called the CTO, which I'm sure you're familiar with. If you go down, there's like classic smokers. You got the Weber kettle. You got the Smoky Mountain. You got the drum. You got the Jambo. I think the Meadow Creek chicken cooker's one. I think the Old Hickory CTO absolutely is one, and some of the cabinet smokers. But that CTO is probably, it's one of those Hall of Fame cookers. And the BP is just a little bit smaller than that, and it doesn't have gas assist.
Sterling Ball joining me here on the show. Sterling, let me ask you about, switch it up here just for a second. Still in the competition side, but let's talk about competitive steak cooking. Something that you like? It's obviously very popular. SCA is obviously continuing to grow. There's other sanctioning bodies that are starting to sprout up, one based here in Columbus, Ohio, actually. But what are your thoughts on competitive steak cooking and where you see that in the next couple of years?
Well, I think it's great. But I don't want to do it.
Really?
And I haven't done it. Yeah, and listen, what you don't want to do is say anything that throws shade on something that everybody loves. But, I mean, if the fire was right next to the steak and there was nothing in between it, other than a normal grate, I'd probably look for it. I'd probably like that. But, it doesn't really interest me. Plus, I don't have time for another hobby.
Well, a lot of that is attached to an event you're already going to be at, though, right? It's going to be a Friday event. Not all the time, of course, but there could be some events where the Friday night's a steak cook-off, and then Saturday you got your barbecue cook.
You know what? Maybe I had to help Matt Dalton do it one time. It's a great story. We're at Del Mar. He goes, "Can I borrow your Santa Maria cooker?" I said, "Matt, no, you'll come in 11th." And he looked at me wounded. "Is that what you really think of me?" I said, "No, Matt, it's a Santa Maria. It's not going to put grill grate marks on it." I said, "You're going to come in 11th." And he was like kind of wounded. So I said, "Oh, we'll do it together." We did it. He turned it in. And guess what he finished?
First place.
11th.
Oh, as said.
Yeah, so it was a good joke, but it was true. Finished 11th. Look, I think anything that gets people together and cooking and camaraderie is great. And maybe if I did it a few times, I'd be completely hooked. I don't have anything against it. I just haven't been motivated to do one.
So you would be surprised, or not, the first, I believe it's an SCA event, is going to be taking place roughly 40 minutes from my house in a place, which I'm sure you heard of, Hartville, Ohio, home of the world's largest hardware store, and they have a huge outdoor cooking area. And they're going to be there doing a steak contest, and I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to give it a try. But now I'm a little scared.
Why?
Because I want to go into 11th place.
Oh, come on. Greg, here's the deal. It's outdoor cooking, and there's 65 million videos. And you're a fine cook. I watch you all the time with your neighbor.
My neighbor Desmond?
Yeah, I watch you guys cooking together.
I love that guy. The best.
Who's better, you or Desmond?
How dare you, Sterling?
Get that big stuff out of here.
You know damn well Desmond's a better cook than me.
No, I think you might be.
I think I might be too, but that's all right. We won't tell him that when we see him in person. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I want to give it a try. I don't want to invest the money in a competition barbecue situation at this point, but I figure for a couple $100, maybe for a chance to win 1,000 if I win, that's a pretty good trade-off for the better part of a day's work.
Oh, I think that's great. I think it's really good. You know what I wish in barbecue? I wish dessert. I mean, I wish the kids' queue wouldn't be shrinking. At the Little Rock contest, there was, I think, 5 kids cooked out of 92 or 94 teams, and we had 7. The first year we had the guinea pig, we had 31.
Wow.
And my favorite thing is kids' queue. We had a 3-year-old kid cooking, and he put goggles on. I said, "What are the goggles for?" This the smoke.
Smart.
He's cooking with goggles. I said, "That was pretty good." So, Greg, you like this kind? This is kind of like how we talk when we're not on the air.
Yeah,
we're probably putting all 12 people asleep.
It's conversation. How dare you think that there's at least 12 people? You know, there's half that. What's your take on the kids' queue drop then? Are the kids not interested, or are kids not showing up, or what?
I don't, I really don't know. I think in a way it's become more of the guy's thing and less of the family. And I think the kid, a lot of people say the kids have a lot of activities, but they did 5 years ago too. Yeah. I just would like to see more of that. I think it's really fun, and I think it's good. And I think kids that know how to cook have got a great start on life. Cooking's important.
Sterling, outside of Big Poppa Smokers and the guitar stuff, You do a number of videos called Cooking with Big Poppa. And I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with this or if they know where to find it, but let's talk a little bit about that, where you can find it and what you're up to with those videos, because I think from a everyday Joe kind of standpoint, this is right up my alley.
Well, that's what we want to do. I got started not to compete. I got started to teach men how to cook, and women too. But really, when I bought my first smoker, I realized this is unbelievable because guys can't burn the food. So if I just teach people what the right pit temperature is and the finishing internal temp, I can kind of fix a lot of really bad barbecuers. And I did the research. I talked to wives at parties and said, "Is he any good?" She goes, "No." Well, I said, "How come you don't take the tongs? You will kill him." So I started this to make videos. So I made probably 100 videos over the years, but I think there's 37 on this one right now. And we're going to be adding to them. And Smithfield was very nice to help me with some of them. And then some of them were I did in conjunction with Tabasco.
Where do you find them at?
Where I find www.cookingwithbigpoppa.com.
Do you have a favorite recipe right now that you've done?
Well, I hate to tell you, but I'm cooking a lot inside because, it's been like 60 degrees here in the day.
Brutal.
No, I've been doing a lot of this off season. I've been doing a lot of cast iron cooking, a lot. In fact, I just bought a vermicular cooker, this new system that I'm really excited. I always like playing around with different stuff.
Vermicular.
I went through sous vide. I went through all that stuff. I like just finding different ways of cooking meat.
What's a vermicular cooker?
I think it's from Japan, and it's a very precision cast iron, like Dutch oven, but it's got an induction base, and you can very precisely control the temperature, and it also heats the sides. So it'll steam, it'll roast, and it'll cook like almost sous vide. So it's really exciting. I mean, that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Sterling,
as far as cooking.
I'm sorry. What are you up to next?
What am I up to next?
Yep.
That's tough. I got a lot of guitar stuff coming up.
Give me a name. Tickle us with a feather. Tickle us with a feather. Biggest name on that list.
For me, with guitars?
Sure.
Well, I was really, currently, we had a very nice Grammy showing with St. Vincent playing guitar. I co-designed with her. We had the Super Bowl with Maroon 5. I co-designed that guitar with James Valentine. But, Ernie Ball Strings, if you read the back of the pack, let me read it to you because I forget sometimes. But here it says Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page / Jeff Beck, Guns N' Roses. You name it, there's over 100 names like that.
Wow.
So, and I deal with all those people, or if not the people in the text.
Who's the best guitar player?
Who's the best guitar player?
Yes, aside from you. By the way, for the folks that don't know, you play a mean fat neck, but you can also play the regular guitar as well.
Yeah, we almost got nominated for a Grammy. We're 6th out of 5, which bothered me. What really bothered me, Greg, is 2 drummers beat me out. Drummers aren't supposed to have bands. Okay. No, the best guitar player is somebody you probably wouldn't know. The most precise and technically proficient is a guy named John Petrucci, in my opinion.
Of course I know him.
Jeff Beck's probably one of the most amazing field player that's ever lived. There's so many of them right now. You got 8-year-old Chinese kids who can play Flight of the Bumblebee at double speed. It's the internet has not only affected cooking but also music.
If you had to pick between Brad Paisley and John Mayer and Keith Urban, who's the better?
I think Brad Paisley.
Oh,
but I've worked with all of them. I actually resigned from a project with John Mayer designing guitar for him. It wasn't working good, so I resigned. And he sent me an email, goes, you just quit. Well, I like to think of it as resigning. So, but he still uses our strings and uses a lot of our stuff. But designing guitar for somebody is really, I mean, it's a relationship and it's a chemistry and it's just different. So, John Mayer's a very good guitar player. So is Keith Urban. I think Brad Paisley's probably would win that in my opinion.
What are the chances of you chasing down Dave Grohl and getting him on the show for me?
Impossible.
What? Do you know who you are?
Yeah.
You're Sterling Ball.
Yeah. Well, he has one of our drums, and when he's not on the road, he cooks all over L.A.
Yeah.
I invited him to the King of the Smokers, and I didn't hear back. So if I can't get him to the King of Smokers, I can't get him on your show. I'm sorry.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, at least you're honest. I've
always
respected that.
You want me to lie to you?
No, I've never wanted you to lie to me. I always want you to keep it 100, as the kids say these days.
It's really, really nice seeing a guy like Dave Grohl just over the moon excited about cooking outside.
Do you buy it? Do you think do you think that's a gimmick, or you really think he likes it?
Oh no, I think he eats, breathes, and sleeps it. And I know when he's on the road, he stops in all the right places to eat. No, he's the real deal on it. I mean, he sits out. He's cooking all night. He's not doing like we do, where we're kind of splitting, separating, and cooking hot and fast. He's like sits out with his line all night, you know. But I think that's really cool.
I do too.
Harry Connick is really into it too.
Yeah, he's best buddies with Meathead.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry about that. No, Meathead has taught him a lot, and so I think Mo's been on his show a bunch doing it.
I don't know that, but I just saw Meathead on it once doing his salmon dish or whatever, pork tenderloin or whatever you give him shit about.
No, sweet and sour pork.
Yeah, right, sweet and sour pork.
I'm only saying that because if he is listening, but I know Meathead never listens unless he's on. Okay, but he happens to be listening.
How dare you?
That was a little shot.
No doubt.
And by the way, I love Meathead. Okay, and Meathead and I kind of came up at the same time, and we have very lively conversations.
That's the way it should be. Look, if you're interested in any of Sterling's products, you head to the website, bigpoppasmokers.com. Again, that's bigpoppasmokers.com. You have all the rubs, you have the sauces, you have the cookers. If you have any questions, you give them a call. They answer all your questions. It's just a great outfit. And Sterling, I've always appreciated the years of support you've given this show, both from a support standpoint and from your time being a guest here on the show. And I wish you nothing but success, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
Am I still in your Hall of Fame?
Yes. You know you are.
You know, I got the California one this year. That was good.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Made me really happy.
Let me ask you this. What about this other Hall of Fame? You know, the one that I continually try to get into tongue-in-cheek wise. Is that something you want to get into? You want to get into that Hall of Fame?
Sure, I'd love to, especially since I kind of fed the idea to Rod Gray. They don't really know where it came from. Okay, so, and now I think journalists control it, and I don't know that I belong, but I'm sure if you ask anybody honestly, would they like to be in it? Yes. You know, I do have a club with William Murray, and it's called the Palma Valley Thunderbird.
I know, and you're the only two in it. We know.
Well, they don't know, but what I do is we get free lunches because we ask people if they'd like to be considered for membership.
That's part and parcel.
The thing is, they have to buy our lunch, and at the end they say, "How do I do?" I said, "No,
nope." Good try.
One time we went out in our two Thunderbirds. We went out, and he broke down, and I threw jumper cables at him and left him on the side of the road.
What a nice guy you are.
He can get home, trust me.
Yeah, no doubt. In the meantime, it's Sterling Ball of Big Poppa Smokers. Again, the website, bigpoppasmokers.com. Sterling, always appreciate the time, my friend. Thanks so much.
Greg, take the rest of the day off.
Thank you, sir. I will. The rest of the day, or as we say here on the show, the next 15 minutes or so. Again, Sterling Ball, bigpoppasmokers.com, if you are interested. You know, I don't know if anybody's keeping track here or not, but aside from Robin, the grill girl, who anxiously talked about herself herself. Her and her father going down to the shed to do the Steak Cook-Off Association steak contest last month. Is this a joke? Why not? You're on the air. Go ahead. I mean, are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? Turn your radio off, douche. When you hear me talk and say you're on the air, you're on the air. There's no screener. You don't have to play through somebody to get to me. As soon as you hear my voice, as soon as you can hear the show, guess what? You're on deck. I'm going to you. I'm going to you. That's how it works. You have to turn the radio off in order to make it happen. Let's try it again. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey. Listen, is at the Coos Barbecue. I'm looking for a stick burner. What's the best stick burner?
Are you looking for a traditional flow or a reverse flow?
I'm looking for a reverse flow.
Reverse flow?
Yes.
It's got to be a Lang. It's got to be a Lang.
It's got to be a Lang? You think so?
It has to be. There's one in my backyard right now that tells me every day I'm the best reverse flow smoker.
Well, I guess I got to buy one.
What size are you going to buy? 48?
Got
to be 48.
I think a 48. I got about a 22 right now.
What's your budget?
Maybe about $2.
$2 or 2,000?
$2G.
All right, let's take a different look at this. What's your name again?
Dave Husich.
Dave, okay. Are you against the traditional flow, firebox on one side, chimney on the other?
Well, right now I have a char griller. I know.
Oh, yeah, come on.
It's a 50-50, but I don't have enough space.
Well, here's the question. So we talked about reverse flow or regular flow, and you said reverse. But I'm pretty keen. I love my Lang. So, I mean, if you want to look at the Lang, I would say, look past the 36, 48, 42 or whatever it is. But also consider this brand called Primitive Pits. You familiar with Primitive Pits?
I'm not.
Okay, so they're not very sexy at all. In fact, they could be considered ugly from an aesthetic standpoint only. But from what I have heard, these things are holding temperature from left to right within 3 and 4 degrees. And that's talking fireside to the exhaust side. Primitive Pits.
Really?
Now, you said $2,000. If you're looking for the best stick burner, the best, then you have to look at a Jambo pit. But $2 or $2,000 probably ain't going to buy you the wheels on that thing. Are you familiar with Jambo pits?
Yeah, of course. I've seen Malcolm Reed do the Jambo.
Yeah, right. He just got a new Jambo. I'm telling you, I would say Lang is in that area for reverse flow for sure. If you're open to different kinds of exhaust flow, I would look at Primitive Pits. I'm going to draw Jimmy Daniel is the guy that owns it. Primitivepits.com, I believe, is the website. You tell him you talk to me, and you're looking for the Babe. I think that's in that $2,000. It might be a little higher than that, but these things are absolutely fantastic. From what I hear, I don't have one, so I can't speak from personal opinion. And then, of course, you have a Close Pits in Houston. You have Gator Pit in Houston. I mean, these are all the classic standby, stalwart type of offset cookers that I would suggest.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I mean, I need something that I just tried to do 4 ribs the other day.
4 racks?
And it was a little too tight. Yeah, racks on racks.
Yeah, you're going to want to look at something in that, at least 42 inches or more. Get space, buy up. The worst thing you can do is decide that money is a bigger factor than space, and then you save the money, and as soon as it shows up, you're like, shit, I should have got more space. You don't want to do that. Don't have buyer's remorse. Buy up and be happy.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dave. Take care.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Why do people say that? Cheers. It's goodbye. I say goodbye to you. Cheers. That's weird when people say that. All right, well, I just gave some pretty sound advice. Sage, even. Sage. Savvy vet. Savvy vet behind the microphone giving pit buying experience. Jambo backyard, John. Forget about that. I'm talking about the J10. If we're going to be buying a Jambo, we're not buying the backyard. Hey, there's Brian Guerrero. Hey, Brian. Now, Dave, if you're open to pellet cookers, you still here, Dave? Dave? Might I suggest a Green Mountain Grill? Next week, we will be having the president of Green Mountain Grills, Jason Baker, on. We're going to be talking about Green Mountain Grills Prime. It's the brand new line that's slowly rolling out. Everybody's seeing it more and more over the last handful of weeks. And we are going to be talking about it in depth next week with Jason Baker. You have the Jim Bowie, that's the biggest. Dave, if you're looking and open for a pellet cooker, I would recommend that. Char grill. I'm not going to snob out, dude. If you want something a little less big, you can go Daniel Boone. If you want something, now, maybe you want the Jim Bowie or the Daniel Boone, and you want something that you can take on tailgates, or maybe you're a camper. If you're into that, I don't understand camping at all, but maybe you're into that. You want to take something with you that gives you that wood pellet fired taste. I mean, come on, you know it. Davy Crockett's going to give you that experience. If you don't have access, maybe you're in a really remote area of camping where you're actually pitching a tent, which I totally don't understand. If you have access to your 12-volt connection in your car, truck, van, or SUV, you can fire up that Davy Crockett and away you go. It's great. Of course, for tailgates and sporting. As I've said, I think I'm going to nab one and use it this summer for softball tournaments, piss all the other dads off. In the meantime, you can go to greenmountaingrills.com and check everything out. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This segment brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect via the Wi-Fi or cloud-based monitoring, or via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com. That's fireboard.com. I know they have new products coming out this year. Just got to track down Ted Conrad and get him back in so we can talk about it. 816-945-2232. And unfortunately, we did not have a Sam Hassan visit. All right. Brian, I do not have a Prime yet, but rumor has it I will be getting a Jim Bowie Prime. I don't actually need a Daniel Boone Prime because my Daniel Boone is, newish. I think it's 3 years old. And it's I primarily use a Daniel Boone as the pizza cooker. I will rip it out and do traditional slow smoking or smoke roasting in there, especially if I need capacity. But 90% of the time, that thing is my standalone pizza cooker, and I'll use the Jim Bowie. I think I'm all caught up on reads here. All right, let me quickly get out, and we'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
Okay, wrapping it up. Best XXX show ever, as potentially brought to you by paddleboard operator Robin Lindars from Grill Girl, who's promising bikini pics. More bikini pics. Were there other ones? Filling up the Insta feed. Harpooning fish in the Atlantic. I'd like to see that. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Steven Reichland, Barbecue Hall of Famer. After that, we had Robin Lindars, the Grill Girl, grillgirl.com, her website. Recapping the steak event and Bloody Marys. Second hour Sterling Ball came up huge, and while we had potentially planned for Sam Hassan, owner, creator, founder of LA Talk Radio, that didn't happen, which it was a 50-50 shot anyway. Maybe we'll try and line up again for next Tuesday or the Tuesday after. It was last minute. He's very busy. It's very busy. It's LA time, for crying out loud. Big show planned for you next week. Embedded correspondents are in. Jason Baker is in. Matt Eads is in. Is that enough for you for next week already? We have some other stuff lining up as well, so stay tuned for that. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.